Now I wanted to do this one last quick video. I want to show you, because when you Google rockets in space, 99.9% of them are all artist renderings and all composites and fake animation. So I'm going to use this animation to show you what they say happens in outer space with a rocket. Right, there goes the rocket. Right, the rocket and the burn coming out of the back, right? So, now, what they are saying, that this rocket internally with oxygenated fuel can then eject the fuel. There's the fuel, right? Or the thrust. I hate using that word because that's not what's going on. First of all, they use this black to demonstrate outer space, which they say is an infinite vacuum universe over 30 billion light years across. And I will quickly emphasize the enormity of a trillion anything. A trillion seconds would take over 30,000 years to go by. That's 30,000 years it would take someone to count to a trillion seconds. They'd be dead. Okay? Now, 1 light year is almost 6 trillion miles. So here we have an infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across. Each light year is almost 6 trillion miles. So they say 30 billion light years across. So this rocket is surrounded by nothing. There's no oxygen whatsoever. So I ask, whatever's going on internally, it produces this, let's call it hot gas, fire, thrust to push the rocket. What is this pushing off of? Is it not still surrounded by and within an infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across? How does this stuff become fixed when there's nothing to brace on or fix yourself upon to offer resistance? I beg you people, even if it's only one of you, to employ logic, your own logic. I know that they tell you this occurs. And I understand that because I was amongst you. I learned this too. I excelled in grade school, high school, and some college. And I've realized that since kindergarten, we are programmed to exhibit implicit trust in our teachers. They're not exactly lying to us. They are only doing what they were programmed to do, which was implicitly trust their teachers, and so on and so forth down the line. They literally believe it's true. Your teacher in the classroom believes what the textbook says. But let's use logic here. This infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across, and each light year is almost 6 trillion miles, and the enormity, 30,000 plus years to count to a trillion seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to a trillion. You'd be dead. Your relatives would be dead. Their offspring would be dead. It would take 30,000 plus years to count a trillion seconds. So the way a rocket or an airplane gets thrust in an oxygen-rich environment on Earth is this pushes off the surrounding air. The air is fixed because it's all the surrounding is all around the rocket. You understand, when a bird flies, it flaps its wings. It does the action of flapping its wings, and the equal and opposite reaction is lift. It flaps its wings on the air and gets lift. Okay, now when you see people put flies in a vacuum, and the fly will crawl up along the wall, and they'll knock it. It'll try to fly and it'll fall straight down. They cannot fly because there's no air for their wings to flap against. Now, understand this. This, even though they say it came out of that, is still part of the rocket. This is all one body. Like I said, even though I have 2 arms and 2 legs, it's still one body because it's still attached to the rocket. Okay? Now the whole unit is surrounded by and within an infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across, of nothing. Now, I hope you at least know that sound cannot travel in a vacuum. Okay, because there's no medium. The medium is air for the sound wave to travel upon or within. And you can see demonstrations of vacuums with the old-fashioned alarm clocks with the little hammer hitting the bell. And you can hear it, but once they start extinguishing the air, sucking the air out of the vacuum chamber, once all the air is gone, you can still see the hammer hitting the bell, but no sound, because there's nothing there for the sound to travel on. That's a fact. And a fly cannot fly in a vacuum. And that's a fact, too. It can be demonstrated. Now, they want you to believe that this thing here can go that way, and also that it can maintain its direction. Now, you know what the nose of a plane does, what aerodynamics are? The nose has something to keep it in the correct orientation of the direction it's going to travel. That nose doesn't have anything to support it, to keep it orientated in the right direction. Now, this is where they say, oh, the rocket would have another rocket here spraying or ejecting substance to keep it that way up, and another one spraying something out to keep it. This is all nonsense because there's nothing in the vacuum of space to brace on. Something would have to become fixed, stationary. Do you understand? And fixed so that when you pushed on it, it didn't move. Then you could push off of that. Now, then they tell you on the side, things in outer space are weightless. And all this garbage, and people don't understand that what they say is contradicting other things they said. Okay, so this rocket expels this. What is this pushing off of? What is pushing this whole thing forward that this is pushing off of? Right here and here is the vacuum of outer space. Everywhere around this rocket, it is surrounded by what they call the infinite vacuum universe of outer space that is billions of light years across. Each light year is almost 6 trillion miles. Do you people even think about the stuff you instantaneously believe? Now here they are with this animated rocket with hot gas, fire being expelled, okay, because it's internal. It's not. They're saying it's not relying on an outward or external anything. It doesn't matter what this thing shoots out. This stuff cannot become fixed. It cannot stay in one spot because it can't brace on anything to stay in one spot. How is this hot gas matter being ejected from the back of the rocket? How is it becoming stationary, fixed? You know how a boat stays in one place in the water? It drops an anchor, okay? And that anchor braces off the bottom of the water and the water around it, okay? Imagine this being like an anchor it was throwing out to stop the rocket. The rocket wouldn't have nothing, or the anchor wouldn't have nothing to brace on in an infinite vacuum universe. Can't you understand? This stuff here cannot push off anything. How is the rocket pushing off this when this don't have nothing to brace on to keep it stationary and fixed? There's nothing there for this to brace on, to stop it, so this thing can push against it and achieve resistance. Think about what they're telling you. Just don't instantaneously believe it. Stop doing that. This here coming out of the rocket has nothing to brace or stop to become fixed on. Okay, a brick wall, you can push off the brick wall because it's in the ground or the cement. You understand? It resists you pushing on it, so you can push off it. You know, like in a pool when the swimmers are in there and they're going to race and they use their feet to push off the wall of the pool to go forward. This is what I'm talking about. This doesn't have anything to push off to give this thing any forward momentum. And this thing, oh, this weightless thing, it's just so stupid. There's nothing here to keep that nose in that orientation. The nose of a plane, the way the plane is built with the wings and the nose, it's in an aerodynamic manner that the wind coming under holds the nose in the correct orientation of direction. Okay, now they're going to come with that garbage about a little nozzle here and one there, pushing this way and pushing that way to keep it orientated. But what is it pushing off of? It's surrounded and within an infinite vacuum of nothing. So this don't have nothing to push off. Something would have to be fixed and something firm. It would have to brace on something. Imagine trying to push off a helium balloon. If you had a helium balloon with a string and tied it to the floor, and then you tried to push, you put your hand and tried to push off it, this scenario is 1,000,000,000 times worse in outer space. Okay? There's nothing. If there were two boosters and one booster ejected a brick wall, and then the other booster ejected this garbage and tried to push against the brick wall would be floating, and it wouldn't have nothing to affix itself in to offer any resistance for this garbage to push off. Okay? It looks pretty. The animation looks kind of, like a nice screensaver maybe, when I'm not using my computer. But that's all it is. This cannot occur because this garbage doesn't have anything to push off of. There's no air. Vacuum is absent of air. Infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across. This is fictitious. This cannot occur. Okay, that's why when they blast rockets off on Earth with the big ocean there, and they go up and then curve and go back down out of view, that's why that occurs. That's why no satellites are there watching these rockets come to outer space, and then we watch some of the mission. That don't occur. They always attach the camera here so we can look at a red-hot booster, and people celebrate that. Don't you understand? When they do blast a rocket off and it goes like that, they call it escape velocity, and all it does is go back down. And then they switch to CGI. And you can tell it's CGI of the whole rocket in space. You people gotta wake up. This is illogical. This would have something to push off of. Now to show that fire cannot exist in a vacuum. One moment, please. Now this guy is gonna light these matches within the vacuum chamber, but the vacuum does not exist yet. There's air inside, and he's gonna show you that the laser can light the matches. Okay? Right? Okay. You get it? That this laser is powerful enough to ignite the matches. Now, let me get it to the part where he gets the vacuum. Okay, this is good too. Now he has this fire going in the oxygen-rich environment, and he's going to turn the vacuum on, and watch what happens to the fire. Now you do know on your keyboard when at YouTube you can use the letter J on the keyboard to reverse 10 seconds, and then you can use the L to advance 10 seconds, and then K in the middle freezes it. See, let me light it up. This here J right there will send the video back 10 seconds. I gotta press it hard enough. Okay, and then the L, you hit that L and it'll advance it 10 seconds, and K will pause the whole thing. Anyway, okay, now this guy's gonna turn the vacuum on and watch what happens to the flame. That's your thrust, that's your hot gas being expelled from the rocket. And as soon as the vacuum is activated, it cannot maintain itself. There's no oxygen. It doesn't matter. What do you think's inside the match head? Okay, now, it goes out. Now he's gonna, let me turn my, because that messes up my battery time. Okay, now this guy, now he's going to try to light the matches in the vacuum. He already demonstrated that he can light them when there's air in the vacuum. Okay? Now the vacuum, you get a little smoke. No fire. No fire whatsoever. Come on, do the next one, buddy. I got a cheeseburger to eat. No fire. Come on, boss. Do the next one. This guy, he's neutral in my opinion because he's not advocating a flat earth or the globe. He's just doing a little experiment. You know? Then you get these other clowns that want to show how fire can exist in a vacuum, and the vacuum is not sealed. And I leave a comment and they never answer me, because you can see, like, they put one of them fireworks in a vacuum and light it, and you can see the top of the vacuum, the top lid, flip up half an inch. That lets air in. And I told him at what time, what second of the video it happened. I get no response. Now, you cannot achieve a burn of any kind in a vacuum that's within a vacuum, because the vacuum is the absence of air. Now, these vacuums are puny compared to 10 to the negative 17 torr infinite vacuum universe, billions of light years across. You can watch this whole video. Just type in lighting matches in a vacuum chamber with laser. Okay, I gave him a thumbs up, because it was genuine and true and real science. All right, but this other garbage, they tell us, look, I understand that you may believe that these people are trying to educate you in the interest of truth and your own best interest, but that's not true. These people are in the pursuit of power, money, prestige, and tenor. Okay, they fudge the truth left and right. And gravity, are you kidding me? I think I already visited that and showed you that if you type in "what don't we know about gravity" on Google, your number one hit is, however, if we are to be honest. And that's funny. If we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is in any fundamental way. That's because it's a 500-year-old theory. Gravity is not a fact. It is a theory. They cannot directly detect gravity itself. They are well aware of Cavendish and gravimeters. Both do not directly detect gravity itself. They allegedly measure the alleged effects or results of gravity. They do not deal. If they could directly detect gravity, the gravimeter or Cavendish, or they could do so tomorrow, I would remove all my videos pertaining to anything against gravity. Do you understand? Gravity would destroy any belief in a flat earth. Do you understand that? But gravity remains a 500-year-old theory because it hasn't one iota of presence or substance to directly detect itself. That is why they have to say, however, if we are to be honest, we do not know what gravity is in any fundamental way. Go to Google, type in what don't we know about gravity, and you will see the number one hit. And they have to say that because they've never been able to directly detect gravity itself, to isolate and study. Electricity, they can directly detect, isolate, and harness because there's presence and substance of electricity to harness. And we harness it with current. I showed you with my taser, but it's charging now. In the other video, I show you the current of electricity, and we have field of magnetism. All right, get the horseshoe magnet, a piece of paper, and shavings of iron, and it will form, with the piece of paper in between, magnetic field. Okay? Magnetism and electricity combined simultaneously. Every magnet and every electrical device on the earth, billions of devices, would not be doing 1% of the stuff they say gravity's doing. How can you admit that you do not know what gravity is in any fundamental way and then ascribe the assembly of the earth, stars, the sun, to gravity? You do know they say that gravity assembled the earth, right? And the sun and the stars. The truth here is they promote atheism. They will not tell the truth that the earth is the center of all known cosmology. And they are not truly atheists because they do have a God. Their God is gravity. And you can substitute Newton or Einstein as its prophet, and NASA is definitely its disciples. Okay, I believe in God, and I will quickly admit that I cannot demonstrate, detect any current field wave beam ray of God. No presence and substance of God. And my belief is faith. You people cannot do that. Even though your true belief in gravity is by faith. You cannot directly detect gravity itself with any known means of propagation, and they will tell you. However, if we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is in any fundamental way. That's all.